Yeah, it's really exciting. So did you get into the movie?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and to be clear, this is your first time watching it, or had you caught bits and pieces or seen the whole thing before?
First time. Is it your first time?
No, I
Really?
can't believe it's your
Yeah.
first time with Taylor Sheridan.
I saved his stuff. That's why I said you little minx, because I've saved Taylor Sheridan
Right.
stuff, and I had to save. I knew about it when it came out. His first time directing. I watched some interviews of him saying he prefers writing and directing because he doesn't want to do all the work. And yeah, I knew a little bit about it, but it's on my list of things to watch when I needed it, and so I watched it.
Yeah, hold up. So this is his directorial debut.
Yeah.
Oh man. For some reason, I had it in my head that Hell or High Water came out before this. Okay, or
Wait,
Sicario or something. Did he hold up?
wait,
Did
wait.
he didn't direct Sicario? I may have my shit crossed right here, but okay, let me double check
I
this
don't
because
think he directed Hell or High Water, is what I'm saying.
he definitely did. I know he did that.
Well, then it's Hell or High Water. I thought this was his debut.
Oh no, you're right. He didn't.
No, yeah, I didn't think so.
Oh
This is
man. Okay. Okay, never mind. Oh wow, he did this really weird looking horror movie in 2011
yeah.
called
Vile.
Vile. Yeah. God, whoever he cast as this like creepy person is Jesus. Okay. I'll circle back to that later. Okay, do you want to hit the intro yourself this time?
Okay, yeah. Wind River,
Hmm.
written and directed by the great Taylor Sheridan of Hell or High Water and Sicario fame. Famously, he was an actor until his early 40s and decided when on the set of Sons of Anarchy, he wanted to be paid a little more, and he realized, well, you're not an important enough actor. And so it crushed him enough. He said, okay, fine. I got to figure out a way to make money for my family. And he went to writing. And then he went on to make great films like I just mentioned. Anyway, this came out in 2017 and covers a crime that was committed on the reservation in Wyoming with stars Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, he's a special talent, this Taylor Sheridan guy, and it seems like over the last couple of years he's just really blowing up with his work in television. I don't know if you've caught any of Yellowstone or what is it, 1883? Is that the other one he's behind?
Yes, and he's in Oklahoma now doing a thing with Stallone and something else on top of that. So yes, it's a hot product right now.
Big time. You got to link up with him while you're still there. Try to.
I really do. I love it. I'm trying.
Okay, so your first time seeing for the listener. I had seen this maybe 3 years ago. I just rewatched it again. You wanna give me your quick feedback first?
Well, I'm careful about giving. I need to start giving general statements overall because I think that should be for the end. So I'll talk about the things I wrote down. First of all, great performances. Taylor Sheridan, I've watched a lot about him. I'm a little obsessed with him as a writer. He's probably one of the better writers, if not one of the best right now in Hollywood. He's allergic to exposition, he'll say. So for those of you that watch it, that's why when you watch a lot of his movies, they don't say things like, "It sure is a shame my daughter died when I was married to an Indian." They don't. He doesn't. He's allergic to that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you watch a lot of his stuff, you just have characters and you see how they're behaving. Actually, I stole that from who was the writer? Who's the director of Gone Girl?
Gone Girl, wasn't that David Fincher?
Yeah, David Fincher. So the screenwriter of Gone Girl is the same as the author of the book, and he was having trouble with screenwriting, and so David Fincher gave advice: don't tell me what characters are doing, tell me how they're behaving. So I say all this to say that this movie is very much like that. It's Taylor Sheridan's lack of exposition mixed with some of that. Tell me how characters behave to tell me the story. I was more impressed by Olsen than Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner did a great job, and he's kind of stymied by the character himself, which is a solemn, cowboy of sorts, in Wyoming. So there wasn't a lot of range for him, but he did good. He did really good. I thought Elizabeth Olsen did really great. Lots of emotion there, lots of subtle crying, lots of different ways to display while being an FBI agent, want to be taken as a position of authority and respect. So she did a great job. Yeah, I was overall pleased with the film, but I have a lot of notes, but I want to hear what you think too.
The bit about the exposition with him, the fact that this movie is just a shade over an hour and a half is incredible, and that lack of exposition with the characters and over explaining has everything to do with that. He cuts to the point, he gets straight to the story, and yes, he somehow gets the most authentic performances out of each and every single person who's on his set, and he's just one of those few directors, a handful, who anything that he does, anything that he touches, I am completely confident that will be an extraordinary piece of television or film.
I mean, again, he doesn't follow the rules of writing. right? And he talks about this a lot when he does his writing, because he almost doesn't want to. And why this is great is, let's give an example. The setup of a conventional whodunit thing is allergic to all things conventional. Sorry, that was a little bit. Where I'm going with this. The scene where Jeremy Renner reveals the fate of his daughter, right? What's the correct thing to do there? When a man who's obviously never cries, is crying in front of you, the correct thing to do is go over there and hold him, give a hug, say, I'm sorry, give him some empathy. But she doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
She excuses herself very casually to the bathroom to go cry silently, right?
Yes.
Which does a lot. And I think that's because her character has to be strong and whatnot, which she's finally open with at the end, and they have that great scene. But again, that doesn't fit how things are supposed to be, you would think. Or even in the end, like, well, okay, he saved your life. She's a woman. He's a man. They're both single. They're supposed to end up together, right? But they don't, because that would be that's so conventional, right? Why does it have to be that way? And his lack of convention makes things, I think, really interesting, which some people get wrong. Let me be clear. I think Breaking Bad is one of the most overrated garbage shows in history. But they tried that with their thing. You know, what if we make the bad guy the focus, and we cover his going everything non-conventional, right? The unlikable son, the wife who secretly like has a dark side and whatnot. And I think they do it wrong. In this case, it's done right, where it's non-convention that works because it feels real, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I will argue with you till the day I die about Breaking Bad, but I do agree with what you're saying about this movie. And we won't even get into that. Maybe one of these days we'll do a Breaking Bad podcast, but that means you have to sit your ass down and watch every single episode from episode 1 until the finale. So that may take something special for that to happen.
I would put shards of glass up my Aretha.
Okay, well, all right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Things change. Yeah, man, like that difference that you're talking about with her not embracing him, going to the bathroom, and that happens many times, stuff like that, subtle stuff like that in this movie. That's what makes this, not to be too nerdy with this whole thing. That's what makes it a film. What would happen in real life? I believe, of course, there are a few fantastical exceptions throughout this movie. Maybe, well, I don't even know the shootout at the end, because I feel like that was done really, really well too. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. But yeah, back to my original point. It's what makes this a film is you never doubt anyone's intentions, and you never doubt the authenticity of the story.
Yeah, and we can, you're talking about non-convention in the great shootouts, and we can jump right into that if you want. I wish I could talk to Sheridan, because I forget, his brother, I think, is like a journalist or something. He started doing Sicario because his brother was covering, I think, like some art, like stuff in the cartel. That's how he got into it, by the way. So I think his brother's like a, what's that called? Like, not a crime journalist. I can get the term wrong. Something like that.
But he's kind of an inside man, so he can go straight to the source and get some really cool information. Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
and why I mention it is because his you talk about tactics and whatnot, like an accountant and things I observe and whatnot. And this one, there is a lot of tactical things done here. So he got a great consultant, or he knows how to write, like how people interact, right? For me, in my background, I'm always looking at my back. I'm always looking for exits. I'm always being aware of my surroundings. There's a great point where I think he said, like, you're triangulating me or something like that, where those guys are surrounding them, right? And he's paying attention, right? That cop. Or when he says, you don't know, right? Like, yeah. He already has that sense from having done for a while, like what's about to go down. And he can smell it almost. So it was a great scene.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it really was. Did you have a scene in this that was your favorite, one that really stuck out as just being like, man, that was just really, really incredible and well done?
Those scenes are fun just because I love action. I'm a guy, like, why not? But it's the end. Not the end, actually. Didn't like that as much. It was a bit too conventional. I'll talk about that in a second. When he's with Elizabeth Olsen, he starts reading the magazine, and she says, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And he reads the magazine. That's great.
Yeah. And that from her, again, back to your point, I loved both their performances. Every single person in this was just incredible, in my opinion. But yeah, that performance by her in that hospital bed when he picked up that magazine was just heart-wrenching, in my opinion, in the most beautiful way possible. It just shows, that's the essence of humanity right there, is in empathy. Is she, just really connected with that woman who died right in that moment. It was so beautiful.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I feel bad for. I feel bad for is good actors and actresses right now in 2022 that have to put up with this police dog shit Marvel fucking amusement park of movies we've made.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got Elizabeth Olsen, unfortunately, starring as what is she in the stupid Marvel
I
series?
think it's called Scarlet Witch, I think.
The Scarlet Witch. Like, she has so much better range, and she's stuck into that. I know it's not like, whoa, it's her making millions or whatever, but I like to believe she wants better than her twin sisters from Full House, and she's proven that. But I wish she had more opportunity for better films if we were still in the golden age, but we're not. We're in the amusement park age of films right now.
We are. Yeah, we are. Sorry to jump in, but I'll play devil's advocate there. I mean, I agree, but I haven't seen all the Marvel movies. I've seen nothing really that she's done, with the exception of maybe one Avengers movie. And I understand they put so much money and special effects and all that into this, but they really do hire incredible actors to play these parts. And I'm sure these actors take it very seriously and do the best they can with what they're given. But as far as being a critic on that kind of stuff, I don't know, because I really don't care. She's top tier, man. She's really great. And this performance, I had seen her in a movie called Ingrid Goes West. You probably haven't seen that, but she plays like this social media influencer. Complete 180 from what she was in this movie. And watching this performance versus that one just really, really kind of exemplifies her range. And she's special. She's really talented. And it's pretty cool that she got out of the shadow of her famous sisters,
Yeah, she really did differentiate herself as an actual talented actress and not just a meme.
Yeah.
I wrote a couple notes. Sheridan is great. I feel, actually, I really want to put a lot of attention to this. You'll hear me a lot talk about this stuff. Feminism is destroying our society. Sorry. I guess we're in like third wave, whatever wave we're in. There's different waves of feminism. If you get into research, we're into the wave where feminists don't even know what they're fighting for anymore. It's some invisible specter, right? But every damn character has to be a badass that's 5'9", 5'6", 100 pounds that can break the neck of a Delta Force operator, right? Or they have to be so much more stoic and, able to handle their emotions than some weak feminine dude, right? That's bad writing. Taylor Sheridan is great at writing strong female characters. And when I mean strong female, I mean the actual way it should be strong female characters. Elizabeth Olsen is entirely feminine in this movie. She is, but she's strong. And Emily Blunt in Sicario was a female. That's why they picked her. Actually, that's kind of the twisted part, is they picked someone that was impressionable, right? And they preyed on that in order to use her to be the stooge at the end. But she still was a human, right? An empathetic, feeling woman. And so is Elizabeth Olsen. And her strength comes in her, her actions, how she carries herself in the combat scenes. I just think he knows how to write what I would call strong female characters, and I celebrate that.
He does, in a very authentic way. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hear what you're saying. It's really, I believe it's really good for young kids, young girls to have, strong female characters to look up to. But it is strange. Some of the decisions that come out of Hollywood, we won't go into like specific casting and all that stuff, but it just kind of, we'll leave that where it is. But yeah, you're right. Emily Blunt, very true with that casting in Sicario, and Elizabeth Olsen in this. Can you think of any other female actors that Sheridan's cast in his stuff? Or is his resume kind of, too short at this point to have any comparison? Let me see here.
Too short, I can't remember. Hell or High Water, we disagreed from this one. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It was there. I didn't think it was good or great, or I thought it was okay.
Okay. I
don't remember a female character. I haven't watched Yellowstone because I'm waiting to, because I'm dying to, by the way, but I want to save it.
Yeah.
Basically, I haven't watched the sequel to Sicario, so I don't know. I only know those two. There's some other movies that have good female, like Dread, which I haven't watched, which maybe that should be our next one. They have a good female lead in that one, in the right way, by the way, again.
Yeah. Well, look at the actress. So of course, she didn't have a huge part in this. The story revolves around her, but the actress's name is Kelsey Asbill, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. She played the victim who was frozen. She's also been in, I believe, every episode of Yellowstone. So, I look forward to checking out that show at some point. But, the little bit that she was in this film, I thought she really held her own and she was good. And I liked her essence on screen. And I think she, could play that badass, strong woman character pretty well, probably.
Yeah, I thought she was good, although I'd never used the word badass with them. But yeah, no, I she was great too.
Yeah.
I think something, and let's get into the controversy or things may differ on, and this is actually really interesting because Sheridan wrote this because he wanted to bring more attention to crimes that are done on the reservation, specifically towards missing women. They don't say men, I'm sure men go missing too, by the way, and sexual abuse, right? That was his goal, which I think it achieved that. The thing we don't get to talk about incoming controversy here is right now there's a lot of controversy in Oklahoma specifically with what's happening on the reservations. From what little I know, the governor's trying to pull back some rights for Native Americans and I think some rights they have in Oklahoma, and I guess federally from that point of view, they can only handle state. And the point of this movie was, if you paid attention to the movie, they don't have enough tribal cops to take care of everything and police everything, right? But that's because they're their own entity within the United States. That's something I think is interesting that I would love for somebody to have a good deeper discussion about, is why that is today. We're in this constant reparations thing. Like, how long is this going to last? 300 years? 500 years?
Mm-hmm.
Forever? Will forever have kind of like a sovereign nation with the United States forever? Right? So I guess I mentioned it because his point was to bring attention to it, right? And I'm saying, well, can we also bring attention to the fact that we have a completely foreign nation operating itself that doesn't have the resources in this case, particularly to handle things? And that's one subset of a lot of more things we could talk about that. I know this will be very controversial, and some will call me ignorant in my breadth of understanding this, but for the small parts I'm talking about, I don't think I'm misinformed with what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot that we could go into there. I got one question for you, kind of sort of in relation to that. Do you feel, given the history of America with Native Americans and the fact that there was essentially a genocide, Europeans taking over the country and slavery, do you feel like there is a gray cloud that looms over this country and kind of forever just kind of permeates and, maybe affects everything here? Do you kind of buy into that whole thing?
I think gray clouds exist because you perpetuate them. I mean, Chinese were also treated like crap on the railroads and everything else. Irish were treated, racism openly. Eastern Europeans, there's a lot. The problem with the reparations game and the pointing fingers game is, if you're trying to come together, when does it ever end, right? There was open racism with Asians, I think Chinese specifically, during expansion to the West and Manifest Destiny. There was, I think in New York specifically, Irish and missing some others I couldn't get. Remember Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise, Far and Away?
Yeah.
They were just, I don't hire Irish. Remember that? Now, I know that's not the same thing as genocide, forever who's going to be in a comment section freaking out. But there's a lot of these things that happen. We have a dark past, right, on some things. But at some point, we have to heal from that and come together as a nation. You can't forever be pointing the finger at what happened. And there's a lot more I can say about that. Like, this is such a big, long subject. And I'm more mentioning it because Taylor Sheridan did a great job of bringing attention to this, but I'm saying there's also another side to it, right? That maybe we should bring attention to. Why are they not resourced enough? Why does this happen? Why is that okay? Why are there municipalities and layers of jurisdiction on a reservation like that? Long answer. What do you think?
Yeah. Honestly, man, I'm not even going to really touch that right now because we keep these reviews a little bit short. But I do want to say that I think with this forum that we have, that's something that we could potentially branch out to and discuss, because we need an hour, 2 hours to kind of get in that sort of stuff. But I appreciate you, sharing your opinion there. It's certainly interesting to hear what you have to say. But yeah, let's save that for another time, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I should jump back into the movie. I have notes. One last thing I had was where he says, "You ever been so mad you want to fight the world?" And then Renner said, "Yes, but I instead decided to fight that feeling." I can identify with that. I think a lot of people can, where you want to have someone to blame, and you call it you make your enemy the world, right? But if you attack the world, if you give up on the world, and it gives up on you or attacks you back. And so Renner decided to fight the feeling of attacking the world in order to, be content with his life or have a life. I really like that line.
One of the most beautiful lines in the whole movie. I agree, but I decided to fight the feeling instead because I figured the world would win, right? And I think we can all relate to that. That says so much in just so few words. It's pretty profound. Yeah. I was going to ask you what your favorite quote in the movie is. I'm assuming that's it.
Yes. What about you?
That was it. And that's funny.
Great minds.
Guess so.
I was going to move to Wyoming. Right now, Wyoming is quickly becoming the Bitcoin capital of the United States for a lot of reasons. Very libertarian. Lots of regulations there that support Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But I was going to move there until I found out how cold and windy it was.
Well, I'm sure that they hopefully they're doubling down on their investments and patient because, man, the crypto world right now is it's pretty rough.
It is rough, but for those of us that have been there, this is nothing. Again, I for me. I bought it at 3,000, so it's like, oh no, it's down to 30, 10
Oh
times
God.
entry.
Yeah,
Oh.
go suck a dick.
Hey,
Thanks,
some people
thanks
say
for
that.
the heads up there, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Ratings.
Yeah, let's get to it.
You know, I didn't talk more about the film. I said one quick blurb before this. It was in some parts slow and somewhat boring. In some parts, okay. The sum of the parts is a great movie, very good movie. I'll give it an 8. Yeah, that's all I can say. I give it an 8.
Okay, flat 8, even 8. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going above. I'm going 8.3. The only reason it's not getting an 8.4 is because Harvey Weinstein produced it.
I'm not accepting that one either. That's a whole other like.
That's a completely different podcast that we can get into.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I look forward to that one. Yeah,
I'm gonna do anything for this role. 20 years later, oh my God, the things he did to me.
Okay. Yeah, good times. Good old Hollywood. Well, I'm glad it's given us stuff to talk about at least, you know. Yeah. Okay. Well, those are good scores. So yeah, I think that sums it up. Sorry about the spoilers, but if you've heard before, you know that, you know, these are spoiler filled. So back to you. Do you have a choice for next week? Do you have anything lined up?
I got 2 ones. We can do. We need some more light. Also, but I should have mentioned. I guess we can still put this in. I hate watching Raven films or hearing about it, or like I do. It's the reality of the world. It is horrible. I get it. I hate it. I really do. I fast forwarded to that part. I did. I fast forwarded the majority of it.
It was hard. It's I agree. It's tough to watch. Yeah. It wasn't, you know, girl with a dragon tattoo on that level, but it was tough to watch for sure. Yeah.
I think you mean it wasn't Monica Bellucci Irreversible, where she's right for like 10 minutes.
Jesus, I've never seen that. I'll stay away from it. Thanks for the heads up.
Anyway, yeah. So I think I can pick something light for us.
Please.
So I can do comedy, or I can do action. Which do you prefer?
Oh, let's do comedy. We haven't done a comedy yet.
Okay. Have you watched Spy?
No.
I've watched Spy maybe 10 or 11 times.
Is that the one with Melissa McCarthy?
It is.
Okay.
And your doppelganger, Jude Law.
Yeah.
Let's. I'm excited for you. I might watch it on the phone. It's such an uplifting. It's great. Really good.
Great. I can't wait, man. I haven't seen a good comedy in a long time.
It's hard to make them, especially the PC culture, as the director of Joker pointed out. So
isn't Jason Statham's in it, Melissa McCarthy, Jude Law, and who else?
There's Rose Byrne.
You're not a fan.
I think I think she's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, she's all right.
She is I'm not kidding here. She's out of every single actress working, for me, she's my biggest celebrity crush, man. I just think she's completely stunning.
Really?
Oh yeah. And the Australian thing on top of it. Kidding me? Yeah.
Wait, she's Australian? That's even worse. That's the worst accent ever.
Get out of here. Jesus.
Crikey.
Yeah, because that's what she walks around saying all the time.
I'm Rouse Bond. I can't even do the accent. It's so bad.
All right, I'm going to give you a week to work on that.
It's hard to do because it's so it's like retarded British is what it sounds like.
Oh man, you and that good old R word again. You're just gonna kicked right off every platform.
Not the R word. Wait, hold on, do a Rogan. That's not our word. It's not my word to say. It's their word to say.
That's right. There you go. Yeah, it's good that we it's good that you and I stand where we stand and we can talk about this kind of stuff. Okay, man. Dude, thank you for this. And for anybody who paid any attention as far as continuity goes, the guest is what we had lined up for this week, and we took a little sidetrack for some personal reasons. If anybody's curious, we can get into those later. But anyways, I'll just throw that in there.
If people are interested why we could talk about it, it might be something interesting to talk about. Nothing, it doesn't have anything great either.
Great, man. Thanks for the time, and see you next week with Spy.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes in the links below.